or vibrate. We would appreciate that courtesy. We always begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we would ask you to remain standing for a brief moment of silence. I'd like for you to keep in your thoughts two individuals. One is Mr. Ken Scheiderle, who passed away within the last week. Mr. Scheiderle, a number of years ago, served on the Mohawk Area School Board and lived out in North Beaver Township. The second gentleman, and Commissioner Burek's going to talk a little bit about him, is a former county controller of ours, Mr. Richard Cheney, who also passed away. But we'll start with the pledge, and then we'll ask you to remain standing for a moment of silence. Commissioner Burek, would you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We'll have a brief moment of silence. Thank you all. Vanessa, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Steele-Vogel.
Here.
Commissioner Burek.
Present.
Commissioner Vogler.
Here, we have a quorum. We always set aside time during our meeting for public comments. We do it twice during the meeting. We do it here in just a few moments, and then prior to adjournment, we'll open it back up for public comments. We welcome your comments. We ask that they be related to county government matters. If you have a concern about a state matter, we recommend you talk to your state officials. Likewise, if it's federal, recommend that you reach out to your U.S. Senator or U.S. Congressperson. And if it's a municipal, local matter, we would refer you to your local municipality. But if it's a county matter, you've come to the right place. You're welcome to speak both times. You're welcome to speak one of the two times, or if you're just here to listen, that's fine as well. And the final thing we would respectfully ask is if you could try to limit your speaking time to about 5 minutes out of respect for everybody else's schedule. We'd appreciate that courtesy. Next item, and I hope everybody had access to an agenda. Next on the agenda, we always set aside time for any of our row officers who might come to our meeting and offer any information. Today we have none here so far. So that takes us to public comment. And I will open it up, and if you do have a comment, just raise your hand, state your name, and forward your comment to us if you'd like. Mr. Henley.
Andrew Henley. I'm the library director of the Newcastle Public Library and system administrator of the Lawrence County Federated Library System. I want to, first of all, thank the commissioners for their support and thank the community for their support as well. In just under 3 weeks, we've raised over $50,000 towards our the Newcastle Public Library's Elevate campaign, and so we are grateful.
Or Elevate.
Elevate, as some people pronounce it.
I had to.
Right.
I had to.
So we are really grateful for the community support and the commissioners' continued support at the Newcastle Public Library. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Henley, and I know you have some of your colleagues with you, and we welcome all of you today for joining us. Thank you. We do have an item on the agenda later in the meeting that we'll be considering as it relates to the Newcastle Library. Any other public comments at this time? Hearing none. As I mentioned, we will reopen it for additional comments prior to adjournment of the meeting. Moving along under fiscal and contractual, each week we are provided with documents from the County Controller's Office, which are known as the warrant registers. It's essentially a listing of the various bills that have been paid by the Controller's Office during the course of the last week. We have 3 of them. Incidentally, all of the documents to which I will be referring today are available for you to take a look at conclusion of the meeting if you'd like to see them. I always give my packet to Debbie Walker, who's from the Newcastle News, and I just saw her coming down the steps. So, but feel free if you'd like to see any of these documents. The warrant registers that have been provided to us by the Controller's Office are dated September 12, 13, and 14. I'll give my colleagues whatever time they might need to look them over, and then whenever you're ready, I could entertain a motion to accept these documents.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. Questions or concerns? Anything, Loretta?
I saw nothing out of the ordinary.
Thank you. Brian, anything?
No.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor that's been appropriately seconded for acceptance of the warrant registers. I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. Also in our packet are the minutes of the September 12 Commissioners' Public Meeting. It was held here a week ago. To my colleagues, take whatever time you need to look them over, and then we can approve them if you're so willing.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. You'll bear with me just a second. Tell I'm not the speed reader in the group.
What was the name of that speed reading course? Isn't there a? I might have a blank on it.
You'll remember.
I will.
When you do, just shout it out.
Yeah, okay.
Andrew Carnegie.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the minutes from last week's meeting. Any concerns about the minutes? Hearing none, Vanessa, could you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you very much. Good morning, Debbie. We just approved, we're at the minutes, we just approved the minutes of the meeting from last week, so that's where we are on the agenda. And I'll have my packet for you as well as last week's packet, if you'd like, at the end of the meeting. That takes us to written communications. We did receive one document that we need to enter into the record. This was submitted to us from the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection. And this is county notification of planned land development for Chapter 102 permits. The applicant is the Mohawk Area School District. And the location is North Beaver Township. And the narrative is as follows. The Mohawk Area School District is proposing to construct a new girls' softball field with synthetic turf, also to renovate the existing boys' baseball field infield with the addition of new synthetic turf and regraded grass outfield, and also they plan to construct a new concession stand and restroom building, and additional stormwater management and collection facilities are also proposed. This has been reviewed by the county planning office. Amy McKinney, our planning director, has signed off on it, as has the superintendent of the Mohawk Area School District, Lori Howe. We have no regulatory authority over matters such as this, but the law does require that we receive notification of these types of documents, and then we enter them into the record. So in order for us to do that, may I have a motion then to accept this document?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Brian, any concerns or questions? Loretta? Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. Every week, we set aside time for the commissioners to offer remarks and comments, and we try to rotate the order in which we do that. So today, I get to go first. A couple of things. I will note that, and I know both my colleagues give a rundown on places we've been and things that we've done and things that we're going to be doing. I will note that this weekend, there are at least 2 businesses of which I am aware here in the city of Newcastle that are going to be having ribbon cutting ceremonies, both in the downtown section. The Union Station Distillery and the Neshannock Creek Brewery, I hope I have that right.
Yes.
Which is down on South Mercer Street. And there's a lot going on. The McConnell's Mill Heritage Festival out in Slippery Rock Township takes place this weekend. I will note that I will actually have to be in Harrisburg Thursday and Friday I serve as chair of the County Commissioners Association's Workers' Compensation Trust Fund Board of Directors. And we have our fall meeting in Harrisburg. And so I'll be out of the county for that period of time. The other thing I will note, two other things I'll note very quickly. Last night, we received a press release from Norfolk Southern. And Debbie, I forwarded an email to you, and I have a copy of it as well.
Okay, good.
Norfolk Southern communicated with the three of us yesterday, indicating that an interim value assurance program will be put into place, and it's known as a VAP. It will compensate any reduction in value of eligible residential properties located in East Palestine, Ohio, and some surrounding communities that, as a result of the derailment that took place back in February. Through the interim VAP, those residents who are in the defined program area, and I'll explain that in just a second, who have sold their homes since February 3, or currently have their homes on the market, or will put their homes on the market, are eligible to be compensated for any difference between their home's market value and the sale price. The interim VAP will also be available for future sales as Norfolk Southern develops the full long-term program in concert with stakeholders involved in that legal process. At the time of the long-term VAP announcement, the interim plan will end and the long-term VAP requirements will apply. The interim VAP is available to eligible property owners. Eligible property owners will work with independent appraisers to assess the value of their home and with Norfolk Southern Family Assistance Center after the sale to recoup any difference. And then there is information as to where they can go. Norfolk Southern does have a VAP website that interested homeowners can go to. Learn more by visiting norfolksouthern.com. They did provide us with a defined program area. And as you would expect, a good portion of this is in the state of Ohio, but it also spills over into both Beaver and Lawrence counties. The boundary specific to Lawrence County is obviously the state line on the west, the Beaver-Lawrence County line on the south, and then the east and north boundary is the Pennsylvania Turnpike. So everything that would be west and south of the Pennsylvania Turnpike in Lawrence County, that area is included in this VAP. And in looking at the map, that would mean that all of Enon Valley Borough is included. Most of Little Beaver Township is included. A small portion of New Beaver Borough would be part of this. And then finally, a section of North Beaver Township would be included. If you'd like, I can pass this around. If you wouldn't mind, Brian, thank you.
Anybody wants to see the
Anybody
map?
would like to see it. I'm not sure if we have anybody in the room that lives in that area, but feel free to take a look at it. Finally, on a lighter note, I want to call everybody's attention that our colleague, Commissioner Spielvogel, not only spends a lot of her time being a county commissioner, but she's a darn good cook. And there's proof of that. She received over the weekend, right? From Sept Winery, their 4th annual Italian festival. And she is officially the sauce and meatball champ. Look at that, it's got the Italian flag and a big trophy. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do it all, I might say.
We were hoping for some samples.
I was just gonna say,
That is it.
I'm
It's in the
what are you gonna
works.
cook for us and bring some in. I've been here 6 months. You haven't cooked for me yet.
Okay, see, I knew that was coming, all right. There you go, Deb, thank you.
Well, that's a nice trophy.
Isn't it one, I think it's just great, so much, we talk about all the time, so many community things going on and happening, and this is just an event that is just, and like you said, it's a happy event, it's a joyful event, a lot of fun, a lot of people in attendance it was, and of course, you know, I'm a pretty competitive person, so I hesitated a bit and thought, just like running for office, why not, right?
You're in it to win it.
You're in it to win it, yes, thank you.
Well,
Thank
congratulations.
you for acknowledging that, thank you.
Certainly. That concludes my remarks, and according to the schedule, Mr. Burek is next.
All right, just to follow up on that, it's with all due seriousness, if you bring in someday when your schedule
I know.
permits, bring in sauce and meatballs, I'll even buy the buns and we'll have a little
Okay.
staff lunch and a meatball sandwiches.
Got it. Okay.
I have just 2 items this morning. I did have a longer list, but in the interest of time, I've narrowed it down to 2. First, I wanted to say that all 3 commissioners attended the Forward Lawrence Annual Impact Award Ceremony and Luncheon last Friday. And I just want to publicly congratulate the awardees. 5 county businesses received awards. They were the Newcastle Playhouse, Clasco Foods / Pizza Joe's / Daystar Marketing. It was good to see Joe Seminara there. Pyrotechnico, owned by the Vitale family. Avalon Field Club at Newcastle, the former Newcastle Country Club, which was purchased by the Avalon Group and totally renovated. Bruce and Marilee's, which is now run by the 3rd generation. I knew the grandfather and the father, and now the 3 sons, Justin, Jonathan.
And you say you're not old. You say
I've been
you're
around a while. I started my career young. The Bruce brothers still run that very successful business.
Yes.
And then there was also 2 individuals honored that day. Kimberly Kohler-Jones, most people know as the executive director of the Hoyt Center for the Arts. She received the Robert Del Signor, former county commissioner, award for leadership and public service. And Justin Kirkwood, who had served on the Laurel School Board, received the Sam B. Biazucci Leadership Award for board service. Sam was a close personal friend of mine. He served forever on the Shenango School Board and many other boards of nonprofits. So it's very nice that award's named after him as well. So I just wanted to acknowledge all the award winners. I said it was a very nice event that the commissioners attended. And congratulate Commissioner Spielvogel, was in the Leadership Lawrence County class this year as well. So congratulations to you and the other award winners. I did want to mention one other thing. I wanted to note for the record that a former county elected row officer has passed away. Richard Cheney was elected as county controller back in November of '91, and he served 1 term from 1992 to January of '96. And interesting side note, his election indirectly benefited me, because prior to his election as county controller, he worked on the staff of State Representative Tom Fee. Well, when he took office in January of '92, Representative Fee had an opening on his staff, and eventually I was offered that position and I accepted it. And that job with the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, which I did for 3 years, helped me to learn firsthand how, how government and the political process worked. And I met many people through that office and assisted many people through state programs as a state legislative aide. And that position really helped me later get elected to the Lawrence County Board of Commissioners. So I did want to note Mr. Cheney did pass away, and he had served as county controller in addition to his very diverse career. So.
Thank you, sir, very much. Commissioner Spielvogel.
Thank you. A couple of more places that we were at, that we attended, boards that we are on. Last week, we were at the Inn at Water's Edge, the Lodge at Water's Edge. I'm on the board of directors for Visit Lawrence County. That's our tourist promotion agency. And the meetings are usually held in the mornings, but there was a soft opening, so to speak, at this location in Perry Township. I was a wonderful place to be, and scenic and rustic and along the Slippery Rock Creek. Just great for a retreat, meetings. There's a lot of things that the owner is looking to do. Look for a huge grand opening announcement when it's ready. But we were there for a soft opening. I have to comment, the Reno family, Gwen Reno, who I did not realize was the owner, and we go back many years from our days at Lanigan's, that she actually was looking for a mission in life and took this on, and she's doing just a wonderful, wonderful job with it. We actually saw bald eagles flying around. So you could go there, and no matter what your stresses of the day were, you go down that hill and you get out of your vehicle and you can hear the water and just the peacefulness of it. It was just absolutely, absolutely beautiful. So we want to thank Gwen for doing that, and also for our Visit Lawrence County Board Director, Janet Flacco, Ginny. They are just the absolute best. On another note, I am also part of the Board of Directors for the Lawrence County Drug and Alcohol Commission. We met last evening just to have a regular board meeting, but noted that September is National Recovery Month. We, at this point in time, right now is National Recovery Day. We have a group of 40 or 50 people representing Beaver and Lawrence County in Washington, D.C. to represent us. The Recovery Coalition also sponsored Sunday evening, a Light of the Night for Recovery that was well attended. It continues to grow as we acknowledge those that are struggling with recovery, those that we've lost that do not have that opportunity to recover. So I just wanted to bring that out, that we need to be more vocal with our support with those that are struggling with substance use disorder, and be a support system for them and let them know that they're not alone. Recovery is possible, recovery for everyone. There's also a second annual recovery resource fair being held September 29th from 10 to 2, and it's at the Lawrence County Drug and Alcohol Commission grounds downtown. There will be healthcare providers, recovery speakers, Narcan distributions. I believe tomorrow we are having a Narcan distribution here. We have every other month held distributions here just to make it available and end that stigma. Nobody in my family uses drugs, I don't need Narcan. It is not about that. I keep it in my vehicle. I keep it at my home, because you just don't know where or when you're going to be, that somebody may need assistance, somebody may need some help. So I'm a firm believer in having it available. There'll be giveaways, different speakers, just an annual event. I was there last year, a great event. Go down, check it out, and grab yourself some information. So that is Friday, September 29th from 10 to 2. It is at the parking lots all around the Kaufman House, the corner lot that's there where the Drug and Alcohol Commission is located. And that's all I had. Thank you so much.
Thank you both. I was expecting one of you to mention we were able to attend the library's reception Friday night.
We were.
Which was a very nice
It was very nice.
Thank you for having us there.
Yes.
And Saturday at right before 12 noon, we were able to attend the ribbon cutting at the Hoyt Center up on the North Hill.
Yes.
Of that beautiful mural, that welcome mural.
Yes.
That was painted there by a gentleman from Erie. And that was a very nice event. So
it was.
We had a busy week.
Busy, very busy.
Well, thank you both for your remarks.
Absolutely.
We will move on to new business. The first item, Vanessa, what number would
348.
348.
Yes.
We usually do, but if we don't worry.
You need a pen?
Do you have an extra one?
Yeah.
I usually carry one in my pocket, but I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much. My apologies. And you said
348.
348. Thank you. This first proposed resolution comes from the jail. Warden and/or Lisa, would you care to come up? Lisa's
Lisa's used to it now. I remember those days that she was nervous about coming up this week. Now she just said, I'll take it, Warden.
Please, you're amongst friends, Lisa. Lisa Zarilla is from the jail. Warden Mike Mullmeister is with her. This is a resolution that we're going to consider regarding a grant application through the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency for the detection and mitigation of COVID-19 in local and county confinement facilities. But we'll let you fill in the details if you would, please.
Sure. So the PCCD, on behalf of the PA Department of Health, allocated funds for every county in PA. So it's a non-competitive grant. It's 24 months. It's retroactive to August of last year for anything that we would have used for mitigation efforts. For Lawrence County, we were allocated $94,418. The deadline for the grants today. So we're going to use it for PPE equipment, gloves, masks, things like that, sanitizers to enhance cleaning efforts, collection kits, any software or hardware we would need for that. And then also for electronic tablets in case we would need to close off to visitors or outside treatment providers so they can continue with their treatment, inmates could continue with treatment and the visitation.
Well, I heard you say the deadline's today, so we can vote on this shortly, and then I'm sure you have some documents for us to sign.
I'm waiting on a CJAP letter of support, so as soon as I get that, I'll send out the contract.
Okay. I may be out this afternoon. If that's the case, will 2 signatures suffice, do you know? I suspect they will.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but as soon as I get back, I'll reach
Okay.
out to CJAP.
I'll be here till about 12:30 or so. Just for the benefit of the folks in the audience, the county code stipulates that any contracts that are entered into with county government, it's required that the Board of Commissioners serve as signatories to those contracts. And that's why we're going through this process. Commissioner Spielvogel chairs the prison board. I should note that the county code also requires in Pennsylvania counties that the jail oversight board consists of 7 people. A lot of people think it's just the commissioners. That's not the case. Actually, we're the minority of the prison board. The prison board also consists by law of the district attorney, president judge, the county controller, and the county sheriff. It's a 7-member board. We meet once a month. Right now, Commissioner Spielvogel chairs that board. And that being said, do you have questions or thoughts for either Lisa or the warden?
No questions, but thank you for continuing to do the good work for the county at the corrections facility, because they do a stand-up job, an excellent job. This is a non-competitive grant, but the competitive grant, I hesitate to say the success of Lisa and staffing, administrative, the level of success that you have with the competitive grants is excellent as well. So thank you so much for everything that you do, and you as well, the warden and staff.
I agree. Mr. Burek.
No questions, and just echo, thank you both.
Yes.
And all the staff over there. I worked in corrections briefly in my career. It wasn't for me. It's not for everybody. It's a very difficult profession, but I thank both of them for their service.
Thank you. May I have a motion then for proposed resolution 348?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. Further comments or concerns?
No.
I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lisa, thank you as always. Warden,
Thank you.
appreciate you joining us. Next on the agenda is proposed resolution 349. You may recall that at last week's meeting, we opened 2 bids for the resealing of parking lots at county-owned facilities, including this campus, the Elmira building up on East Washington Street, and the county's public safety building on County Line Road in Hickory Township. We received 2 bids. You'll note that what we're doing today is awarding the bid, and there was a meeting held with a review meeting with our county engineer and the lower bidder, but that lower bidder has withdrawn their bid because the bid total was based on the application of 1 coat of sealer over the pre-prepared surface. The project documents specified that 2 coats of sealer needed to be applied over the prepared surface. When the when that bidder was made aware of this matter, that bidder chose to withdraw their bid. Accordingly, the second bid has been reviewed by the county engineer, Taylor Engineering, and they are recommending that we award the contract to Castle Asphalt and Construction located on Sampson Street in the city of Newcastle. And by doing so, that will allow them then to move forward with this project. Before I ask my colleagues, Joe, I know you were working on this as well. Anything else we've overlooked or need to add?
No, it was the two coats was the difference between the two bids that we received.
Thank you. Commissioner Burek, any thoughts, questions?
I was going to explain, but you just explained what happened, that the other bidder withdrew, and so that this is the only valid bid, so I support the resolution. I'll move for its adoption of Resolution 349.
Thank you, sir.
I will second with comment that that's why the bids get opened and tabled for review, to make sure that the bids are all to the specifications that were advertised in. And unfortunately, there was a discrepancy with this one, but that's why the process is there. We go to the next responsible bid.
Exactly. Thank you for noting that. I want to thank Commissioner Burek, because in advance of this ceiling project, he noted that some of the trees over at the Elmira building had overgrown the parking lots, and you've undertaken some efforts with our maintenance department to see that some of those trees are cut back, some of the branches are removed. And from my understanding, that'll take place first, and then the ceiling will begin.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for noting that. I should also note that the dollars that we are earmarking for this project are American Rescue Plan dollars that we receive from the federal government. We are permitted by law to either distribute those dollars out into the community and or utilize them for internal needs. And like most counties, we've chosen. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Brian? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes?
Motion carries.
Thank you. I want to move to proposed resolution 350, and I want to thank Mr. Henley and his colleagues who are here today from the library. First of all, for your patience this morning. And I might add, when we vote on this, you're very welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but if you have to move along, we certainly understand. And we have before us proposed resolution 350. And as noted just a few seconds ago, the county has been utilizing the American Rescue Plan dollars that we receive for both internal and external needs throughout the county. We have been approached by the Newcastle Public Library, now that they own the building, and have been asked for some assistance from the county. We had a very thorough meeting with Mr. Henley and some of his board members recently to go over their request. I know they are planning, as has been noted, they're planning to apply for grants to assist with their much needed renovation and in some respects rehabilitation of the library building itself, which is over 40 years old now. And we commend them for this undertaking. We've had some informal conversations amongst ourselves, and what we're proposing today is that the county would allocate $200,000 to the library for its infrastructure, and that these dollars could be used as their board sees fit, as it falls in with their proposed plans. That being said, I'll turn it to Mr. Burek first, and then Commissioner Spielvogel for their remarks, if you'd care to make any.
Well, I just read the resolution itself. The agenda states to apply to the Pennsylvania Department of Education Office of the Commonwealth Libraries for a Keystone grant. the actual resolution only states about providing funds towards the local match. My understanding is that the resolution should also clearly state that the grant has to be applied for by a government entity. So if we can add one line to the resolution before we vote on it, I would like to specify that the county is the applicant on behalf of the Newcastle Public Library, Inc.
If you'd like
If
to,
that's agreeable to both of you.
okay with that?
Absolutely.
If you, when we get to a point where you wish to make an overall motion and incorporate that language, that amendatory language, you're certainly welcome to do so.
I just feel it's necessary to add that language to the resolution.
Sure.
I would agree.
So before we take any further action, I would move to add one line to resolution 350 stating, in addition to approving an allocation of $200,000 to the Newcastle Public Library, and also to be the applicant on behalf of the Newcastle Public Library, Inc. for the Keystone grant for libraries.
Would you wish to second Mr. Burek's motion as it was stated?
Yes,
Thank you.
sure.
Do you have other comments before I turn to Commissioner Spilbo?
No.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for wording it the way that you did. I appreciate that. Commissioner Spilbo?
I have no comments. No, we are looking forward to helping and know that it's been quite a battle to get control of the building and get that figured out. And thankfully, the city was amenable to turning it over to the library, and you created your nonprofit that you needed to do. And moving forward, thank you for the work that you've done with the board, with their approval and moving forward, and the citizens of Lawrence County for being so attentive and getting that money raised so quickly for, I'm not going to say elevate any longer. I'm going to say elevate. You gotta put that little sign up over that E. But thank you for all of the work that you've done and continue to do, and hopefully be a good partner to you and get that moving. And we'll I don't know whether to say keep our fingers crossed that the grant comes through. Be hopeful that it comes through, but we want it to come through. Thank you.
Thank you. I will note also that, as we've talked in the past, Lawrence County is fortunate to have 3 public libraries. The one that we're speaking of right now, the Elwood City Area Public Library, it's located in the borough of Elwood City, and then the F.D. Campbell Memorial Library, which is in North Beaver Township. The county does levy, as part of its real estate tax, a dedicated library tax. And in part, credit goes to Commissioner Burek when he was here previously in the late 90s. That's when that was implemented. And Mr. Burek played a major role in that. And that has been sustaining revenue to all 3 libraries. In fact, if my memory serves me correctly, just last year, the Newcastle Library received about $320,000 by way of the library tax. This allocation is over and above that. I should also make note. So we're happy to assist you folks. You've got a good board of directors. You've got a good group, the Friends of the Library. You've got a lot of people in the community that are rooting for you. It's obvious. And we wish you success, and we're happy to be hopefully a small part of that success. Thank you. Any other comments from my 2 colleagues? We have a motion on the floor with the amendatory language that's been noted. I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Well, once again, you folks are very welcome to stay. We're probably going to be here another 20 minutes. You're welcome, but we know you're busy people if you have to move along.
It doesn't get any more exciting than this.
Yes, because if you want a nap, it's a good time to take a nap. It's not the most exciting.
But we're glad you came. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. The next item on the agenda would be proposed resolution 351. This is a budget amendment, and make sure I'm in the right. Yes, this is from the Veterans Office. Lawrence County does have an Office of Veterans Affairs. The Commonwealth requires that every county have an Office of Veterans Affairs, and ours is right across the hall here, and they do wonderful work for our veterans. We had an unbudgeted amount of $10,000 come in through a transportation grant, so we have to take formal action to make note of that there is an increase in that revenue line item. And then a corresponding $10,000 earmark or notation for the expense line item noted as other services. This is proposed resolution 351. Comments or concerns? And if not, I could take a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. Any other discussion?
No.
Okay, this is again a budget amendment. We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. The next item is also a budget amendment through the Community Development Block Grant. And coincidentally, that's the same dollar amount, $10,000. It's just a coincidence. We are noting that there was an unanticipated revenue of $10,000 coming in for CDBG, and we are earmarking that for the CDBG County Administration 2020 line item. And if you're wondering, well, why is that 3 years ago? The CDBG books almost never close. Sometimes the thing rolls over year after year, and this is a good note of that. And again, this is noted as a budget amendment. This is proposed resolution 352. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. Any concerns? Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you both, and thank you, Vanessa. We have some, as we approach the end of the calendar year, oftentimes our departments and row officers have to make some minor adjustments to their budgets. It's just like your family budget. Sometimes your electric bill's higher than you expected, maybe your water bill's lower, or vice versa. And as such, we have to approve transfer requests. I'm going to go through these. Stop me if you do have any questions. And then if you wish, hopefully we can take them as a group. But if you need to pull one out and talk about it, just get my attention and we'll talk about it. The first transfer request comes from the Mental Health Developmental Services Office. The total amount of the transfer request is $17,000. $12,000 is coming from ID Services Base, and it's being transferred to ID Case Management. $5,000 is coming from their contingency and going into materials and supplies. The Public Defender's Office is asking for a $500 transfer from their contingency into that of client transportation. The jail is asking for a $4,300 transfer from the part-time temporary guard line item into that of their telephone line item. The Children and Youth Services Office is asking for a $10,000 transfer from their contracted services line item into that of court-related costs, and this is to cover reimbursable adoption fees. The Adult Probation Office is asking for a $1,010 transfer from their contingency into that of vehicle expense. It appears that one of their vehicles is in need of new brakes. The courts are asking for a $300 transfer from their contingency into that of uniforms. My guess is that's probably for their security personnel, I'm assuming. Maybe a judge's robe, I don't know. But I'm guessing for this. Yeah, but they do have that line item. It's a $300 transfer. The Prothonotary is asking for a $3,000 transfer from her contingency into that of materials and supplies for that office. District Judge Nicholson is requesting a $163 transfer from her contingency account into that of the subscription line item. The Coroner's Office is asking for a $1,304 transfer from his contingency into that of the telephone line item. Those are the transfer requests that are before us. Do either of you have any concerns or questions about any of them?
Just comments that, these are line items that they're, like you said earlier, Dan, just moving from one part of their own budget to another. There's nothing exceptional or an additional ask for monies. It's monies that they have been appropriated from the beginning of the year with their budget. They're just shifting where the needs are.
Bottom line doesn't change.
Doesn't change.
Good point. Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Burek.
Two small questions, if you have any information, either you or Joe or Commissioner Spielvogel. Two of them are for transfers for telephone. Are these, do we know, are these because of additional lines or additional phones, mobile phones, or existing phone bills went up? I'm just curious if that's
I would assume that it's just existing phone bills that went up. I don't think they would be for our cell account, our cellular.
I'll check on both. I'm curious why they're
And in the jail might even be upgrades.
Or is it
With all the
replacing, is
upgrades
it
that they're
replacing
doing, the
equipment?
replacements and things that they're doing.
That seems high to me, if it's
Yes.
just for telephone
Yes.
bills, maybe it's upgrading phone
And
equipment.
we're
Yes.
running into different locations where a certain vendor no longer is going to serve Lawrence County, so we had to upgrade
They have to upgrade
equipment inside of the buildings to allow for other service providers.
I'll follow up with that, no big deal. But the other one, I was just curious, what client transportation does the public defender's office provide? They actually assist clients to come for hearings or trials if they need it, or what's, never heard of that? Do we have any information on that at all?
The document before us says unusual amount of transportation costs, including Florida, New York, Columbus. So I'm guessing that you had clients of theirs who had to get back here, I'm assuming for court-related matters. And that may have been, I'm gonna take a guess here, Brian. That may have covered, well, it does say client transportation, but I'm wondering
It's
if it paid for the.
$500, not $10,000. I'm looking at public defender from contingency to client transportation is $500.
Right, it's not a huge amount, I was just
No, I thought you
curious.
said 10,000. No,
No,
it's 500.
no, I'm just curious what transport, I can check.
I'm
with the
wondering
public
if
defender.
it pays for the staff's transportation. In other words, if a staff member has to go pick someone up, maybe it's paying for that staff person.
It's not a huge amount, I'll follow up with that, I just,
Sure.
first time I saw that,
Right.
so, that's all. I'm fine with these transfers, and I'll, like I said, get additional information.
Would you care to make a motion to approve the transfer?
They've been requested by the department head, so I'll move for their approval.
I
I
thank you,
will
sir,
second.
and I thank you, ma'am. Any further comments or questions? Do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Before we move on, Debbie, I wanted to thank you. Debbie and I happened to both attend a wonderful choral reunion concert at our alma mater, Mohawk High School, last week, which was put on by both retired teacher Jim McKim and the current teacher, Mr. Adicott. But it was a very nice evening, but your article was tremendous. And I enjoyed reading it, and
I enjoyed writing it.
oh, that's great. Wasn't it a nice concert?
It's nice to write about something nice.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. And you got
Yes.
to meet my old buddy JP Fowler.
Oh, he's awesome.
Like I told you that night, I could tell you some stories about him, but he could tell stories
Well,
about me.
you read
so-
my mind.
His interview
I'm
was just
sure.
like, you know.
Yeah. Oh, he's a great guy. Came all the way from Florida. He was, I think, class of 80, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Wonderful guy. So anyway, Debbie, thank you. That was enjoyable to read and just as enjoyable to attend. Thank you. We're through with voting matters. We have a resolution on the table, which I believe we'll leave there. A couple of announcements. The Board of Commissioners will meet a week from today, Tuesday, September 26th at 10 a.m. in this room. That's open to the public. The prison board that we talked about earlier has its monthly public meeting tomorrow, September 20. Commissioner Spielvogel will chair that meeting at 12 noon here. It's open to the public. And speaking of public, I will open the floor for any public comments or questions that anybody in the room might have. Mr. Henley.
Sure. I just want to say thank you on behalf of the Newcastle Public Library and the Lawrence County Federated System. Again, this is a very generous contribution to our work at the library, to much needed renovations. And so I look forward to working with you all, showing you the progress as we go along. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
And just a correction, maybe I used the wrong terminology when I said battle to get the building. I think that realizing that there were no agreements in place, but that the city had owned it, and then trying to work through just the intricacies of getting that turned over. I think it wasn't a battle, it was just the getting the verbiage and everything put together. So, and just like a lot of things like we're facing even with the jail, when there hasn't been a lot of upkeep, or even here with our system upgrades, the things that we're doing, it's an uphill battle and very costly at this point in time. So commend you on your efforts for the fundraising, and again, yes, happy to assist.
Debbie, any questions? Anybody else from the audience have any thoughts or comments? Closing comments from my fellow commissioners. Mr. Burek.
Can't pass up a chance to speak. So just want to thank Andrew and the others from the library for being here today, and thank you for your ongoing work. Just one clarification, you mentioned the Narcan distribution. Does anybody know? I thought I read that's this Thursday. You mentioned tomorrow's Wednesday. I think Thursday from 1 to 3, the Drug and Alcohol Commission will be here outside the courthouse distributing Narcan and training how to use it if you ever come across that situation. But I thank you and support you for all your efforts on the Opioid Trust and the Drug and Alcohol Commission. That's a very important topic for Lawrence County. And then just last thing, I want to thank you for and the Visit Lawrence County Board for inviting us last week.
Yes.
Just to follow up on your comments, it's a new business. It's opening, the Lodge at Water's Edge down in Perry Township. They're going to be opening here in the next month or 60 days. The setting is absolutely breathtaking. It's beautiful. Dan said to drive out there, you're going to see some of the prettiest parts of Lawrence County. You were absolutely correct.
Yes.
When we go over the I don't know which bridge it is, you go over the final bridge. Armstrong Bridge, there was people fly fishing in the Shanty Creek, but the Lodge at Water's Edge, it's such a tranquil, beautiful setting. As she said, the bald eagles and the osprey and the water. There's lodges you can rent, cottages you can rent there, and she's going to rent the facility out for events. And I just wish that business well. And thank you so much. The food was outstanding that she prepared.
Yes.
Thanks for having us join you at that board meeting.
Absolutely.
And, I wish that new business well in Lawrence County. Thank you.
It was a summer home constructed in 1940 by a wealthy Pittsburgh family. It sits right along the Slippery Rock Creek. And there are a few other cottages that have been built along there. And it's located, easiest way to get there would be to go out 422 to where Sheets is located, and make a right on 388, go down to where the Center Church is located, Center Presbyterian Church on 388, make a left. And that eventually becomes Hines Camp Road. It winds its way around, you're in Slippery Rock Township at that point. Takes you down, as they noted, to the Slippery Rock Creek. It crosses the Armstrong Bridge. At that point, you go into Perry Township, and you go back up the hill, and it's a very little driveway that you turn right on. But these folks have done a remarkable job already with the remodeling efforts. But it's very tranquil, and I bet in about 6 weeks the leaves down there.
Oh, it will be gorgeous.
So thank you for having us.
Sure, absolutely.
It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Anything else, Brian?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Loretta?
Nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you. We always try to get done in an hour, and we succeeded today. But Vanessa or Joe, anything we've forgotten? Well, we appreciate everybody joining us today, and again, wish the library continued success. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. Meeting is adjourned. Joe will turn off the computer. It's still running. Joe will turn it on. Thank you so